When talking about tidying up the house, why do English speakers use do the laundry, do the dishes, do the ironing, and then make the bed? Why not do the bed? The answer is collocations. If you consistently watch my Confident English lessons, particularly my lessons on vocabulary, you've heard me use that word before. But what exactly are collocations, and how can learning them help you express yourself with greater clarity and build sentences more easily in English? Those are the questions I'm going to answer today. Plus, I'll help you get started with your focus on learning collocations by sharing 19 collocations with think. This includes collocations that use the word think, express what you think, indicate that one thought has led to another, ask for time to think, describe what others think, and show that you have some doubt about what you think. But first, if you don't already know, I'm Anne-Marie with Speak Confident English. Everything I do here is designed to help you get the confidence you want for your life and work in English. One way I do that is with these weekly Confident English lessons, where I share my top confidence and fluency building strategies, targeted grammar topics, and advanced level vocabulary, just like in this lesson on collocations today. While you're here, make sure you subscribe to my Speak Confident English channel on YouTube so you never miss one of my future lessons. Now, let's go back to that question of why English speakers use do the laundry, do the dishes, do the ironing, and make the bed. The reason is some words in English regularly occur with other words. It's like the words are best friends. They show up in sentences together often. These commonly occurring combinations of words are called collocations. And if we make unexpected changes to these collocations, if we use a different word, these variations or alterations can sound distinctly unusual or even like an error. Now, when it comes to collocations, English speakers use them in all conversations and all forms of communication. As a result, it's important for you to learn collocations to strengthen your comprehension. Moreover, just like learning phrasal verbs or idioms in English, being able to use collocations when you speak allows you to express yourself more naturally and with greater clarity. You're also able to enhance your fluency. By learning these common combinations of words, you can build or create sentences in English more quickly and more easily. Before we take a look at specific examples of collocations, I want to recap. A collocation is two or more words that regularly occur together with a high level of probability. And learning collocations can help you understand which words commonly go together and which words don't. With that in mind, let's focus on 19 collocations with think, and we'll start with common collocations that use the word think. For example, honestly think, personally think, hate to think, dread to think, and shudder to think. Now, those first two, honestly think and personally think, are typically used to express our true opinion, particularly if we think that opinion may not be welcome or even popular. We might also use it when giving advice. For example, if a coworker in your office makes a mistake, you might say, I personally think you need to let the boss know you've made that mistake. The collocation hate to think is used to emphasize that you don't want to think about something because it's uncomfortable or unpleasant. For example, a friend of yours might be going through a difficult time at work, and she might say, I hate to think what I would do if I lost my job. Now, the last two on that list, dread to think and shudder to think, are typically used to express that thinking about a particular situation brings a lot of worry, fear, or anxiety. For example, the lifeguards rescued him just in time. I shudder to think what would have happened if they hadn't. And now let's take a look at 3 collocations we use to express what we think or to express an opinion. For example, in my opinion, I think, I'm of the opinion that, and I subscribe to the theory that. And here are 2 example sentences using those collocations. Number 1, I'm of the opinion that if you are kind, kindness will come your way. And number 2, I subscribe to the theory that everything happens for a reason. Of course, in any conversation where you're sharing what you think, you may need more time to think. And here are 6 collocations we use when you need that time. To think carefully, to give it some thought, to have a good think, to have a long think, to have a hard think, and lastly, to have a long, hard think about something. Let's take a look at 3 example sentences that highlight how we can use these collocations. After the meeting, she thought long and hard about how they could improve their strategy. Our second example, clearly with that injury, you need to have a good, hard think about whether you should run another marathon this year. And finally, thanks for your offer. I'll definitely give it some thought. Our next category are collocations that indicate that one thought has led to another. The first one, inclined to think. We typically use this collocation to express an opinion that we're not really sure about, but we're leaning in that direction. We also have the collocation lead one to think and to think ahead or think in advance. Let's take a look at a few example sentences. First, I'm inclined to think Hannah's idea just might work. The second example, unfortunately, the confusing text messages led her to think their dinner plans had been canceled. And third, I believe we should think ahead and start planning for the event now. We have 2 more categories to go, and the next one is collocations about what others think. For example, common knowledge, widespread belief, and opinions are divided. For example, it's common knowledge that she's the strongest athlete on the team. In other words, it's something that everyone knows. Our second example is there's a widespread belief that vinegar can ease the sting of a jellyfish. But the truth is, hot water is a much better idea. Similar to common knowledge, a widespread belief is something that most people believe. And our final example for this category, opinions are divided as to whether the new paint color should be olive green or a light mauve. And now our final category before I ask you some practice questions. Collocations that indicate you're worried or have doubt about what you think. And in this category, we have 2 of them. First, a nagging doubt or a nagging feeling. This is used to express that you have recurring worry or anxiety about something. That feeling just won't go away. For example, imagine a coworker is going to give a big presentation in English tomorrow and they're having some worries. They might say, I have this nagging feeling that everything is going to go horribly wrong tomorrow. The second collocation for this category is to be wrestling with a problem, issue, or situation. We use this when we're thinking over a problem and going back and forth in terms of how to solve it or what the solutions might be. For example, I've been wrestling with this situation for over a week now. To finish with this lesson on collocations, I want you to practice, and I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, what would you say to a friend of yours if it sounds like they need more time to think about a particular problem? Try using one of the collocations you learned here today and share your answer with me in the comments below. My second question, what collocation could you use to express your thoughts on climate change? Again, use one of the collocations from this lesson and share it with me in the comments below. If you found today's lesson helpful to you, I would love to know, and you can tell me in one very simple way. Give this lesson a thumbs up here on YouTube. And while you're at it, Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss one of my Confident English lessons. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.